Toyota Tacoma. It's a pickup truck, an Icom mobile radio installation. I'm posting this video for those who want to do these jobs by themselves. We are located in Vancouver area of Canada. I'm sharing for those who want to learn by themselves the way I learn almost everything I know. I'm a self-taught person and I strive to know as much as possible from my material reality. So again, this is a Tacoma, a pickup truck 2025. We decided to install this radio here instead of trying to drill holes at the back. There's not much room on this car to install such a radio. And before I show you the antenna and how I install the bracket, let's turn on the radio. This car turns the accessories on by the button and the radio comes on. You saw earlier the microphone is right here, so the driver can grab the microphone from the driver's seat. And from the driver perspective, so if I'm a driver, if I look at the right, I can still see the display and I can grab the microphone. So it's not really bad ergonomics. The bracket is solid, 4 screws. It's a plastic frame. You may want to allow the passenger or the driver to use this handle, this plastic stuff to hold on while driving off-road. This car is going to be primarily used off-road. They said about 90% off-road use. After just over 100,000 kilometers, they get rid of it, probably sell it on auction or something like that, because the off-road driving is very demanding for everything in the car, is causing wear and tear. So let's go to the antenna fender, but before I go there, I'll show you the fuse location. For this car, this model, you can find the manual into the glove compartment, but it doesn't explain the fuse meaning, so you can't really identify which fuse you want to use. So there is a trim underneath, you need to take it out. In order to remove this trim, you need to unlock these little tabs. The fuses are right here. I had to use a fuse adapter. If you see here a kind of harness, that's my combined harness, which has the power wire and the antenna, and it goes all the way to the radio right here. The radio cable and antenna cable is a 50 ohm RG59 cable. I've used an adapter to UHF connector or PL259. This is the antenna. It's a VHF antenna on a fender bracket. I choose this location instead of installing it right here. Sometimes I install it here, where it gives the user better radio or better antenna performance. The best performance is of course on the rooftop, but I don't drill holes in the car body I had to work and troubleshoot some bus and some trucks for one of the city work yards here, and I saw how they installed the antennas and how the vibration caused rust in the metal, in the sheet metal, and I had to file that and seal that. It's never going to seal properly, regardless what sealant you use, what gasket you use. So I don't want to drill into customer car. Sometimes they have these cars on lease, and I don't want to mess with their leasing conditions. Um, so I've used the bracket right here. It's a custom fender bracket. If you look inside, let's zoom and focus. You see a bolt. Let me put the bolt in the middle of the screen. That's holding the bracket. And you see a self-tapping screw. I haven't found. I could not find the shorter one, but that's also to secure the bracket to prevent it from spinning. And also I used a piece of rubber tape between the bracket and the fender, so a little bit of rubber, and prevents this metal to bite into this metal paint. So that's some extra care. The antenna cable goes down and it reaches the firewall grommet. There is a nipple on top and one on the bottom, and I cut the one on the top. I made a little cut and I fished this antenna cable. I fished it inside, and I left some rain loop at the bottom. If you see, it looks kind of not very nice, but it's a rain loop. It prevents the water to try to sneak into the firewall. Even that firewall grommet is rubber and it's tight, but yeah, it's just my way of doing it to prevent the water trying to get in places. And once it's across the firewall, I showed you earlier, it comes in here and is joining the power harness into a split loom all the way to the radio. I'll show you the engine. This is for those curious about engines. While I'm here, I'll show you the spacing. And some components here. They have 2 fuse boxes here. It's a large engine, and for a few more seconds I'm going to sit on the driver's seat. So this is the way you get in the car, in case you want to have that feel. Radio is on. If I press the button, radio is off. Rarely I use the constant power. I connect the radio harness to another fuse that provides constant power. That's only if there is demand, if the driver or the customer is demanding that type of connection. Otherwise, I always use switch power. It preserves the battery, especially if the drivers or the user forgets to turn off the radio. If it's constant power, you have to manually turn on and off the radio. Some radios have a wire, ignition wire, but this model does not have. So on Motorola's, sometimes we wire it for constant power, and I use the ignition wire to connect to the positive, and or through a relay or to the accessory. So it depends of what circuit I'm using, what car is that. But for Icom, especially these models, they don't have that option, and I only use the a switched fuse circuit, and in this case I've used a USB. They are USB 1 and 2. I don't know what number is this one, but it's switched power. So radio turns on, and likely the USB turns on as well. It might have some charging pad, I'm not sure. Yeah, so it's not much to show about this radio installation, but I showed you few tips in case you want to do it by yourself. This is for those who have some basic knowledge about running wires. Let's say if you've done your own lights installation, or a new horn, or maybe off-road light bar, signs, different type of accessory. If you've done those, then you have the hand tools and some knowledge, and you can do radio installation as well. The only thing you should have a more specific, it's a power power meter that shows the VSWR, like the reflected power. And if you have a bunch of channels of different frequency, you need to trim the antenna rod or the whip. You need to trim it for the best VSWR, so you don't want to overload the radio circuitry. I do bench repairs as well, and I can tell you how much heat this one gets when the antenna is not tuned right, and also it's increasing the load on the power circuit. So it's best idea to give the job to someone who has the tools. But otherwise, experience wise, you don't need to understand what's inside of the radio like we do. You don't need to have the technician experience with repairing radios, understanding circuits. Like a car mechanic can do the installation pretty good. We've done some jobs, like fixing jobs, done by the forklift and heavy duty mechanics. Crappy jobs. They haven't used proper crimping tools. They use some pliers to crimp the antennas. A few weeks ago I went to such a job working on a forklift where the radio was installed by a heavy duty mechanic, and it was a mess. It was like a spider web of wires. They tried to power the radio from the seat heater, and they had some sort of a split connection of the power with a fan. Then the antenna cable, the connector on that Motorola was loose because they didn't crimp properly the ferrule on the mini UHF connector for that Motorola, and the radio would get a buzzing sound into the Bluetooth headset when the off-road lights were on. It was hard to troubleshoot. I had to turn things off and on, and it was time consuming to the till I found the bad boy. It was the some off-road light bars that got corrosion, and a few LEDs were flickering, and those were causing some EMF, some like electromagnetic interference because of the high current through the wire due to that corrosion and short circuit of the high load on the circuit because of those faulty diodes or some corrosion they had. I could see it flickering. Yeah, it took me an hour to troubleshoot that thing, but I'm saying that a heavy duty mechanic can do the installation on these things if they use proper tools and they care to do neat electrical jobs. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.